Hi, this is Jegajeeth Kanna and welcome to Smart Blood Donor Finder, a location-based service to help people in need of blood to locate blood donors as soon as possible. These are my teammates, Pramod and Kripa Shankar. First, let's see about the donor registration module. Blood donors have to register themselves to our service online via a web application which is developed using JW and JSP technologies. The donor needs to provide his name and phone number, which is mandatory to communicate with the donor. The donor also needs to furnish his address details along with his area name. The area name and the blood group are vital to filter donors based on the blood group and the current area of the person raising the blood donation request. The donor is prompted to enter the date when he last donated his blood so that the donor could be contacted for blood donation request only after 3 months from his last donation. Here you can see I've entered myself with my name and my phone number as the donor. And I provided my area as from Surapet so that I'll be contacted for blood donation requests raised from Surapet. Now let's move on to the second part of our project, which is the SMS server. The SMS server forms a server component of a project which is used to receive and respond to client requests via SMS. You can start the server by pressing the Start Service button. Now let's move on to the third part of our project, which focuses on how a client sends a blood donation request to our server. We have developed an Android application for this purpose, which the client could install in his mobile phone. Then the client moves the application, selects the blood group that he wants to place a request for, and the RH factor, which could be either positive or negative. Then he sets the number of donors required. The phone number of the server is hard-coded into the application. Then he sets the urgency status of the requirement. Then when he clicks on send request, the application composes a message with the details obtained from the client and sends it as a text message to the server. Now let's see how the SMS server processes the client request. The client request sent by the client from an Android mobile phone reaches the SMS server via GSM modem. The blood group, the urgency status, the number of donors, the location area code and cell ID are sent from the client mobile phone to the server. Using these details, the server finds out the location of the client as Surapet. Then it fetches a list of eligible donors from the database who are in the same location as the client, which is Surapet. Then it composes a request message for each of these donors and sends it to them via SMS. Now let's see how the donor responds to the donor request received from the server. So this is the donor's mobile phone, and he has received a message from the server just requesting for blood group. So the message requests for the donor's blood, and it also tells him to reply yes if he is willing to donate blood, otherwise he should ignore the message. So if donor is available and he is willing to donate blood, then he replies yes to the message. The donor types out the message as yes and sends it back to the server. Now the server receives the donor's response. The donor could either respond positively or ignore the blood donor request. So in this case, the donor has responded positively. So the server then sends an acknowledgement for the donor's response, and it also includes the client's phone number in the acknowledgement message which is sent to the donor. Now the donor receives the acknowledgement from the server. The message includes the client's phone number, using which the donor could contact the client and have some travel negotiations to the hospital with him. To stop the SMS server, you can click on the Stop Service button. So this is the final stage of a transaction wherein the client receives the phone number of the donor via a text message which is sent by the server. So the message includes the blood group of the donor and also the current location of the donor. Thank you so much for being with us.